But I'm going to show you something. Psalm 100 and verse 5. Psalm 105. Psalm 100 and verse 5. Go ahead and read it. Psalm 100 and verse 5.
For the Lord is good.
Uh-huh.
His mercy is everlasting.
Go ahead.
And his truth endureth to all generations.
His truth endureth to all generations. So his word is, we should not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God, shouldn't we?
Yes, sir.
And so if he told you to keep the feast of the Passover, he told you to keep the Sabbath first, didn't he?
Yes,
then he told you to keep the Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Day of Pentecost, or the Feast of Harvest, the Feast of Weeks. Then he told you to keep the Feast of Memorial, the blowing of the trumpets, then the Day of Atonement, then the Ingathering, which is the Feast of Tabernacles. If he told you to do it back then, and you see them doing it all through the Bible, even when you get down to the New Testament, even after Jesus died, they were still keeping these feasts.
That's right.
Why? Because the Lord, his word endured to all generations.
Mm-hmm.
All generations. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord.
Yes, sir.
So just because you get to the year 2012, that don't mean you ain't got to keep these days. Just because we get down to the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st century, that don't mean we ain't got to keep these days. Because that means that his word don't endure to all generations then, don't it?
Mm.
But if his word endured to all generations, and then we must live by every word perceived out of the mouth of the Lord, this is what we supposed to be doing then, don't we?
Make it plain.
This is what Jesus did, ain't it?
Make it plain. Yes, sir.
This is what the Lord does. So where do we get all these other days, these Christmas and Easter and Thanksgiving and all these days? Where do we get all this stuff from? New Year's. Where do we get all this stuff from? It had to come from man because it ain't in the Bible, is it?
Teach.
We just read what God commanded us to do. Now, let's start unraveling in some of this traditions of men. Let's go to Proverbs the 30th chapter first. Proverbs 30, and we're gonna pick it up at verse 11. Proverbs 30, and we're gonna pick it up at verse 11. Proverbs 30 and 11. Let's start untangling some of the web that this man have weaved with his traditions. Proverbs 30, and we're going to pick up in verse 11. Proverbs 30 and 11. Go ahead and read.
There's a generation that curseth their father, and doth not bless their mother.
Go ahead.
There's a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness.
Ooh, you see that? He said there's a generation that are pure in their own eyes. Because we are that generation, aren't we?
Make it plain.
Men are pure in their own eyes. No matter what the Bible says, you know, God allowed men to do. Yeah, God allowed men to have or institute some days or some days of celebration. But we're not talking about just days of celebration. We're talking about days that men call themselves serving God and saying we're going to put Christ back in Christmas. That's what we're talking about. We don't have no problem with you. You want to keep the 4th of July? Go ahead and keep it. As long as we ain't talking about instituting Christ into this. You want to keep a Halloween? That's your business. I wouldn't do it. Because we learned what Halloween's conjuring up those familiar spirits.
Oh.
But now we talking about Christmas, and then, you know, you want to talk about Easter and everything. Now you want to incorporate Christ into your traditions. Now that's where the problem comes in.
Yes, sir.
That's where the problem comes in. So, you know, there's a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, God don't let men incorporate their own days of work, celebration. But when you start trying to incorporate Christ, now you got a problem. We're going to read something right here. We're going to read about this guy called himself Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas. We're going to start untangling some of these webs that man have woven. We're gonna read about Saint Nicholas. Here it is. Y'all bear with me. I ain't feeling too good today, but
the World Book Encyclopedia says Saint Nicholas. It says is a children's festival celebrated on December the 6th.
But what does that say? Saint Nicholas feast of?
Mm-hmm.
Let's read that.
Okay. It says Saint Nicholas feast of.
Feast of. So now this guy Saint Nicholas, he got his own feast. Or the people gave him a feast. Go ahead and read. Read it over now.
Saint Nicholas feast of. Is a children's festival celebrated on December the 6th. The feast day of Saint Nicholas. The saint was a bishop who lived in Asia Minor during the AD 300. Hold it
now. Now this 200 and some years after Jesus died, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is 300 AD.
That's right.
He was a bishop of Rome. Go ahead and read.
He has been the patron saint of the children since the Middle Ages.
Now, hold it now. So now we don't see the apostles doing nothing like this, do we? Now we talking about some 200 some years after Jesus died, right?
That's right.
We don't see the apostles holding no Saint Nicholas Day or no Saint Nicholas feast.
No,
the Lord gave them the feast that he wanted them to keep, didn't he?
That's right, brother.
Now we got this Saint Nicholas feast around 300 some AD. Didn't know that Santa Claus went back this far, did you? 300 some years, 200 some years after Christ died.
That's right.
Go ahead and read.
The festival is observed primarily in Europe. In some countries, children fill their shoes with straw and carrots for Saint Nicholas. Horse on the night of December 5th. Horse on the night of December the 5th in the morning.
Oh, you said buggy and horse?
No, it says horse.
Go ahead.
On the night of December the 5th. In the morning, they find the straw and carrots replaced by small toys and cookies. But if children have been naughty, they receive a whipping rod.
Hold it now. So now, if you were good, you will receive the carrot and everything, and what did he say, a cookie or something? And a gift or a toy, right? But if you were naughty, then you get a rod. A whipping rod. Letting you know, all right, I'm watching you. Go ahead and read.
They receive a whipping rod to remind them that someone is watching their behavior. The Dutch brought the festival to America during the 1600s. In the 1800s, the figure of Saint Nicholas was changed into Santa Claus.
So you ain't know Santa Claus go all the way back to 300 AD. And this was a feast that they were keeping for this guy called Saint Nicholas. Right? Yeah. Santa Claus. Now, do you see in the Bible where they were keeping a feast called Saint Nicholas Feast? You don't see that, do you?
No, sir.
And we know this Saint Nicholas to be who? Santa Claus. We're going to deal with him in a minute. But now, let's go to Isaiah, the first chapter. Because, Israel, they appointed their own feast too. But let's see what the Lord said about their feast. Isaiah, the first chapter. Isaiah 1, and we're going to pick it up at verse 12. Isaiah 1 and 12. Isaiah 1 and 12. Everybody got it?
Amen.
Isaiah 1 and 12.
All right.
Go ahead and read.
When ye come to appear before me, who have required this at your hand to tread my courts? Bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto me.
Go ahead.
The new moons and the Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with. It is iniquity.
Go ahead.
Even the solemn meetings.
He said, bring no more vain oblations and incense. Bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto me. The new moons and the Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with. Go ahead.
It is iniquity. Even the solemn meeting.
Go ahead.
Your new moons and your appointed feasts.
Hold it now. He said your new moons and your appointed feasts. Go ahead.
My soul hateth.
He said, my soul hateth. My soul hateth. So now, if he telling his children this, the ones he commanded to keep his feast, but they started appointing their own feast days and their own new moon. He said, my soul hateth. Then what do you think about the ones that we keep? Or the ones that the modern day man keep, rather.
Right.
Because we don't keep it.
No,
I misspoke myself. Y'all know I'm sick.
Come on, right.
So, but anyway, so he said, so now what do you think about this modern day man, the days that they want to keep, like Christmas, like Kwanzaa.
Your soul hater.
You understand? And then you got another one called, what is it, that the Edomite Jews keep. You got Kwanzaa, then you got Christmas,
Hanukkah.
and then you got Hanukkah. There it is, Hanukkah. All of that is tradition of man.
Make it plain, brother.
So now if he's telling his own children that I hate your appointed feast days, what do you think he think about man, the rest of these men? What do you think he think about their feast days and their traditions? But then you don't try to intermingle it with the Bible or intermingle it with Christ. But yet, you're not keeping his holy days. You're not keeping his feast days. But then you're going to go and keep your own and then say, and then incorporate Christ. And you think that's all right with God. When he's telling you about his own children, he said, their appointed feast days, I hate it. What verse you stop at?
The middle of 14.
Go ahead and read.
They are a trouble unto me.
Uh-huh.
I am weary to bear them.
Go ahead.
And when ye spread forth your hands, I will hide my eyes from you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. When ye make many prayers, I will not hear.
Go
your
ahead.
hands are full of blood.
Uh-huh.
Wash you, make you clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes.
Uh-huh.
Cease to do evil.
Now, that's why he said, you know, their appointed feast days and their new moons, he said, my soul hate. Because they was doing wickedness along with this. You understand? Just like man now. They doing wickedness along with these days they trying to incorporate Christ with. Like Christmas and Easter. You know, they doing evil along with these days, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in a little while. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in a little while. Let's go to 2 Timothy, the 4th chapter. 2 Timothy 4. And we're going to pick it up at verse 2 Timothy 4 and verse 2. 2 Timothy 4 and 2. 2 Timothy 4 and 2. They doing evil along with their appointed feast days and their traditions. 2 Timothy 4 and 2. Go ahead and read.
Preach the word. Be instant in season, out of season. Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine.
Go ahead.
For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine.
He said, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine. We give you sound doctrine when we give you the feast days.
Yes, sir.
That's sound doctrine.
Yes, sir.
Why? Because it's written right here in the book, and the Lord commands you to do these things, and he said you ought to do these by ordinance forever. That's sound doctrine, ain't it?
Right here written.
Go ahead and read.
But after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers, having itching ears.
Oh, so he said after their own lust. He said for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers, having itching ears. Go ahead and read.
And they shall turn away their ears from the truth.
They're going to turn away their ears from the truth.
And shall be turned unto fables.
And they're going to be turned unto fables. We know it's a fable. St. Nicholas, that's a fable, ain't it?
Come on, brother. Yes, sir.
We know that that's a fable. You know that Christmas is a fable. You're going to sit up and tell your children, don't lie, don't lie. But then you turn around every year, December 25th, and lie to them. Tell you a fat man came down the chimney with a red suit on. And he gave toys to everybody on the planet. Come on, man. To every child on the planet. That don't make sense, does it? You know, he's checking his list. He's checking it twice. He's going to find out who's naughty or nice. Come on, man. Now, so he said, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth. What is the truth? The Lord's feast days. That's the truth, ain't it?
Indeed.
And they shall be turned unto fables. Go ahead.
But watch thou in all things. Endure affliction. Do the work of an evangelist.
Go ahead.
Make full proofs of thy ministry.
He said, but watch thou in all things, endure affliction, do the work of an evangelist, and make full proof of thy ministry. Let's move on. Let's go to look at something else here. Let's go to, we're going to look at, first of all, we're going to look up the word fables. Let's see what the word fable means. Because most people think it's just like some little cute story or something like that. But no, there ain't no fable. We're going to see what it is. We just read number 2 right there. What did it say? First fable. We're in Reader's Digest Encyclopedia Dictionary.
Fable.
Number 2.
A legend.
It's a legend. Go ahead.
Or myth.
Or it's a myth. That's what a fable is. It's a myth. Go ahead and read.
A foolish or improbable story.
A foolish or improbable story.
Especially one told to deceive. A fabrication.
A fabrication. Now, we're going to deal with this for a minute. We're going to deal with this Christmas for a minute here. We're going to deal with this Christmas. Because he told you that St. Nicholas, that was Santa Claus, didn't he? Now, we're going to look up the Santa Claus. We're going to the World Book Encyclopedia again. Page 102 and 103. Because he told you St. Nicholas was Santa Claus. Now, we're going to read a little bit about Santa Claus. Because we found out what a fable is, a legend. It's a fabrication, ain't it? It's a myth. Go ahead.
Santa Claus is a legendary old man.
Oh, wait a minute now. It's a legendary old man. Well, in the fable, ain't that what a fable is? It is legend. Go ahead and read.
Is a legendary old man who brings gifts to children at Christmas. He has long been portrayed as a stout, bearded man in a red fur trimmed suit. The legend of Santa Claus is popular mainly in the United States. This story adds to youngsters' excitement and wonder at Christmas time.
At what time?
Christmas time.
Christmas time. Go ahead.
The idea of Santa Claus developed from stories about a real person named St. Nicholas. Historians know little for certain about St. Nicholas.
So now we can make a connection then, can't we, with St. Nicholas and Santa Claus, right?
Yes, sir.
One and the same, right?
Indeed.
But now they're giving you legends and myths and stuff, right? Fabrications, fables. They're going to turn away their ears from the truth and be turned to fable. God have mercy.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read.
Irving describes St. Nicholas.
Now this is a writer. His name is Irving. Go ahead.
Irving describes St. Nicholas as a stout, jolly man who wore a broad-brimmed hat and huge breeches and smoked a long pipe. Irving's St. Nicholas rode over treetops in a wagon and filled children's stockings with presents.
Come on now. We know that that's a fairy tale, don't we?
Come on, bro. Yes, sir.
Come on. Come on. We're dealing with legend and myths. Now we're going to read a little bit about Christmas. Let's read a little bit about Christmas. We're in the last 2 million years, page 144, right? Go ahead and read.
Says the missions was largely successful by the middle of the 7th century. Paganism was divided in
right here. You want me to read it?
No, just read all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Their mission was largely successful, and by the middle of the 7th century, paganism was dwindling in England. Worship of the old gods did not die out at once.
You see that worship of the old gods did not die out at once. Paganism was mingling, wasn't it? Go ahead. Dwindling, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Gregory himself advised his minister.
Hold it now. Gregory. Who is this? Pope Gregory. Roman Pope. But you know, we already got St. Nicholas going all the way back to 300, don't we? He was a Roman, he was a Roman too, right?
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead and read.
Gregory himself advised his missionaries to leave the pagan shrines alone. And to try to introduce Christian worship only gradually alongside pagan practices.
Now he said we're going to introduce Christianity alongside pagan practices.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. And now we know what paganism is, right? Paganism, worshiping of idols and false deities and stuff, right?
Indeed.
Go ahead and read.
The mingling of Christianity and paganism.
Hold it now. He said the mingling of Christianity and paganism, go ahead,
is the reason why Christ's birthday is celebrated on December the 25th.
He said that's the reason
date
why
of the pagans' winter festival.
He said that's why Christ's birthday is celebrated on December the 25th, because of the pagan winter festival.
That's right.
A pagan winter festival. You keeping Christmas and you don't even understand what you are doing. Christ didn't have nothing to do with this.
Come on, brother.
Somebody took, or Pope Gregory took, just to appease the people at that time, he took Christianity and paganism and mingled it together, and that's why you got Christmas on the 25th day of December. Let's get a little deeper with this. Let's go a little deeper with this. We're going to the National Encyclopedia Dictionary now, and we're going to look up Christmas again. It's the National Encyclopedia. And we're going to throw something else in there too. The Christmas tree. Go ahead.
Christmas.
The
anniversary of birth of Christ. It is observed on the 25th day of December, 1 week before the New Year. The celebration dates from the 4th and 5th centuries.
Hold it now. You see that? It's the celebration dates from what?
The 4th and 5th centuries.
The 4th and 5th century. That's not long. That's like 300 years and 400 years after the death of Christ. They started this. After his death, they started Christmas. But go ahead and read.
It says the Romans certain Christian practices were adopted from...
Oh, wait a minute. I just want to point this. You know, it always go back to Rome, don't it?
Yes, sir.
You got this guy, St. Nicholas, Roman, right? Pope Gregory, Roman, Catholicism, right? Now you got them telling you about Christmas. Who is going back to? The Romans. All roads lead back to Rome. That's why here in the West we got Roman Christianity.
Make it plain.
Or Italian Christianity. We don't have the Christianity, well, some of us do, the Christianity of the Bible. But the mainstream Christendom and the main Christian world have Roman Christianity. That's why you got Easter, Christmas, Halloween.
Make it plain, brother. Yes,
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read that over.
The Romans certain Christian practices were adopted from an old pagan feast in honor of the birth of the sun.
In honor of the birth of the what?
The sun.
The what sun, though? The S-U-N sun, not the S-O-N sun. Go ahead and read.
Or soul among people of Germanic ancestry, including the English, the celebration of Christmas season with hope, with holly, mistletoe, wassail, and the Yule log.
Now this is where all these practices come from. You know, the mistletoe, the Yule log. You understand? Go ahead.
They are relics of an old pagan festival commemorating the shortest day of the year.
Ooh, you see that? Read that one more time. There's a relics commemorating an old pagan festival. Well, we'll start back over there and read that again where it says the mistletoe and all that stuff.
It says the celebration of Christmas season with holly.
With holly, you know the leaves and stuff, the plants they had around the door. The holly. Go ahead.
Mistletoe wassail.
And the mistletoes. You know, you put the mistletoes up, you're supposed to go under there, and the man and the wife supposed to kiss under the mistletoe. Go ahead.
And the Yule log.
And the Yule log. Go ahead.
Are relics of an old pagan festival commemorating the shortest day of the year.
You see what this is doing? It's commemorating an old pagan festival.
That's it.
Commemorating the shortest day of the year. Go ahead and read.
The custom of making presents at Christmas time is associated in the popular mind with the gift presented to Christ by the wise men.
Hold it now. But we saw that they gave him the gifts. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. They didn't pass out gifts among themselves, did they?
No, sir.
And what did he say?
It says, hold on. The custom of making presents at Christmas time is associated in the popular mind with the gifts presented to Christ by the wise men of the East. Hold it.
They said by the wise men of the East. Go ahead.
And it says the custom of decorating Christmas trees.
Hold it now. So he said the custom of decorating Christmas tree. Now we just threw something else in there, didn't we? The Christmas tree. Go ahead and read.
The custom of decorating Christmas trees has been traced from Rome to Germany.
All roads lead back to Rome, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read.
From Germany to England. And from England to the United States.
From Rome to Germany. From Germany to England. From England to the United States.
That's it.
This is where we get the Christmas tree from. And this is where we get the Christmas and all this, the Yule log and the mistletoes and all this stuff. All this was part of a pagan winter festival celebrating the shortest day of the year.
That's right, brother. Yes, sir.
Then they threw in there the Christmas tree, didn't they? Well, the Lord told you don't do this, didn't he?
He did.
Let's go to Jeremiah the 10th chapter. Jeremiah 10. The Lord told you don't learn the way of the heathen. This Christmas tree thing was being done way before Christ came in the flesh. So we're going to take it all the way back here to Jeremiah, the 10th chapter. All the way back here to Jeremiah, the 10th chapter. And we're going to pick it up at Jeremiah 10 and 1. Jeremiah 10 and 1. Now you understand, we showed you already what days you're supposed to be celebrating, or what days the Lord commands you to celebrate, didn't we? Or to worship Him on, which was the Sabbath day, the Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Pentecost, the Memorial, the blowing of the trumpet, right? The Day of Atonement, and the Feast of Ingathering, which is the Feast of Tabernacles. These are the days that God commanded us to keep. Now we're finding out where this Christmas come from, don't we? Who this St. Nicholas is, or this Santa Claus is. Now we're going to show you where this idea of this Christmas tree. They wasn't just doing that during the time of the what was that, the 4th century, 4th and 5th century. They were doing this all the way back here in BC. Let's go. We're at Jeremiah 10, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Jeremiah 10 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus said the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
Now he said, don't learn the way of the nations. Go ahead.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain.
He said the customs of the people are vain. Which means they don't mean nothing. Go ahead.
For one cut of a tree out of the forest. The work of the hands of a workman with the axe.
Go ahead.
They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers. that it move not.
He said the word. He said don't worry, learn the way of the heathen. The custom of the people are vain. They go to the forest and they cut down the tree. Right? The work of the hands and working with that. They deck it with silver and with gold, and they fasten it with nails and hammers that it move not. What is this?
Christmas tree.
Go ahead and read.
They are upright as the palm tree.
Now we know what this is, now don't we? He says upright as a palm tree. So now, what do men do even to this day? They go, first they grow these trees. They grow these trees, right? They call them Christmas trees. They grow them. And then, around this time of the year, they go and cut them down, don't they?
Yes, sir.
Then they used to have it where you could nail it to the floor, but now they got stands you can put them in now. Right? Then you turn around and deck it. You know, they got bulbs and lights and all that stuff, but right this time, they had silver and gold that they would deck it with, didn't they?
That's right.
But now, what do we do? What do people do? They deck it with lights and string. What do they call this? I forgot. It's been so long since I've done it. I done forgot the name of the stuff they put on it. Then, after you finish decorating it with all these streamers and bulbs and all and lights and everything, what you do? Put the star on the top of it. Now you have it. Then you got your little Christmas presents all around the tree. We know that this ain't nothing but the Christmas tree right here, don't we?
Yes, sir.
But they were doing this ritual all the way back during the times of Jeremiah. Way before the Lord came on the scene, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
He said, they deck it with, verse 4, they deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree. Go ahead.
But speak not.
Uh-huh.
They must need be born, because they cannot go.
Go ahead.
Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also it is in them to do good.
Why? He said he can't do evil, neither can they do good. Why? Because it is a vain custom.
That's it, brother.
It is vain. Skip down to verse 8. What does it say?
But they are altogether brutish and foolish.
Uh-huh.
The stock is a doctrine of vanity.
He said it is brutish and foolish. You see what you're doing when you put up this Christmas tree? It is brutish and it is foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanity. And you say that you're doing this to commemorate the birth of Christ, and you're going to kill a tree. You saying this for commemorating the birth of Christ by killing a tree and decking it with silver. Christ didn't do this. The apostles, the people, the Christians of the first century, they didn't do this. The Lord telling you not to do it. You say, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to put Christ back in Christmas. You got to be kidding. That is insane. That's crazy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is crazy. Let's go now. Let's go to Luke the 6th chapter. Now Christ said don't do this. The Lord said don't do it. Because that's him here in Jeremiah. Thus saith the Lord. But the Father, you have neither heard his voice at any time nor seen his shape. We're going to Luke the 6th chapter and verse 46. And the Lord going to ask you a question right here. Luke 6, because he the one told you don't do the custom of the people, because it's vain. Luke 6 and 46. Go ahead and read it.
And why call ye me Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say?
You see that? He said, why call you me Lord, Lord, and do not the things that I say? He the one who told you don't put up no Christmas tree in your house. Because the custom of the people are vain. He's the one who said don't do this. But you go and do it anyway. And still call him Lord. He said, why call you me Lord, Lord, and do not the things that I say?
That's right.
Let's go to 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. 2 Thessalonians 2, and we're going to pick it up at verse 10. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 10. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 10. Everybody got it?
Amen.
2 Thessalonians 2 and 10. When you get it, go ahead and read it.
And with all deceivableness
Uh-huh.
of of unrighteousness in them that perish.
Go ahead.
Because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.
See, people don't want to receive the love of the truth. Because the truth is the Lord's feast days, isn't it? That you're supposed to be keeping in order to worship him, right?
Teach, brother. Yes.
That's the truth. So he said, and with all deceitfulness and unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth. Go ahead.
That they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion. That they should believe a lie.
Ooh. You see that? God say, the Lord say he's going to send them a strong delusion that they'll believe a lie. And that's what men are believing now, a lie. Talking about some man came with a red suit on with a beard, and then he stopping at everybody's house and dropping off presents to the children. That is a lie. Christ's birthday is not on December the 25th, is it?
No, sir.
That's the day of a winter solstice. Well, they were celebrating the shortest day of the year. Christ didn't tell you to celebrate his birthday anyway, did he? He said, you do show my death. As often as you eat this bread and drink my cup, this cup you do show the Lord's death till he comes. Not his birth, did he?
That's right.
So, since you don't want to believe the truth, the Lord going to send you a strong delusion that you'll believe a lie. And that's what men are believing now. You try taking them this and see, and then give them this versus Christmas and Easter and see which one they're going to go for. Let's go to 1 John, the 2nd chapter. Go forward to 1 John, the 2nd chapter. We finished that, right?
12. We didn't go 12.
Go ahead and read. Go ahead and read.
That they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness.
All right, now, we're going to 1 John 2 and 15. 1 John 2 and 15. I'm trying to rush, boy, I guess. 1 John 2 and 15. 1 John 2 and 15. Everybody got it? Go ahead and read.
Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world.
Go ahead.
If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh.
Go ahead.
And the lust of the eye.
You see what he said? Don't love the world. You can't do the things that the world do. You can't follow after this world, after men. Because if you follow after the things of this world, then the love of the Father is not in you. He said, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Then he said, for all this, all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, go ahead.
And the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father.
Go ahead.
But it is of the world.
Now, we know all those things look beautiful, and the trees, and all the presents, and all that stuff. We know white horses at the winter time, they on the sleighs, and all that stuff, on for the parades, and all. All that stuff is beautiful.
Cute.
You understand? I ain't going to sit here and tell you it's not. But it is not of God. Amen. It is not of God. So he said, don't follow after the world. Go ahead.
And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof.
Go ahead.
But he that doeth the will of God abideth forever.
Ooh, you see that? He said, well, the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of God abideth forever. I mean, you're going to get salvation if you do the will of God.
Yes, amen.
What's the will of God, though? Keep the Feast of Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Pentecost, or Feast of Weeks, the memorial, the blowing of the trumpet.
Yes, sir.
You understand? This is the will of God. Not Easter, Christmas, New Year's. That's not the will of God. Now, did you finish that?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Deuteronomy 16. We winding down. Deuteronomy 16, because I want to point something else out here. Deuteronomy 16 and 1. Deuteronomy 16 and 1. Deuteronomy 16 and 1. He said, in other words, he's telling you, come out of the world. Don't be doing the things that the world is doing. Like, New Year's. That's another one, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
New Year's, everybody, on January, December 31st, at around midnight, everybody jumping around, partying and everything, and January the 1st, they calling that New Year, but that ain't the New Year. No, not according to the Bible. According to tradition of man, yeah. But ain't the New Year's according to the Bible. Deuteronomy 16 and 1. Deuteronomy 16 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
Observe the month of Abib. And keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God.
Now, so he said, observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover to the Lord thy God. Go ahead.
For in the month of Abib, the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night.
Now, let's remind you of something. Let's go back and look at this month of Abib. Let's go see when this month of Abib is. We're going to Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23, and we're going to pick up at verse 5. Leviticus 23 and 5. Let's show you when this month of Abib is, because he said keep the Passover, didn't he? Leviticus 23 and verse 5. Go ahead and read it.
And the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover.
So now we know now what month of the month of Abib is, the first month, ain't it?
That's right.
And he also told you this month going to be the first of the month, the first month of the year to you, didn't he? You finished that verse 5, right?
I did.
Now, let's go, we're going to read something right here. We're going to read something right here about New Year's. Because it's coming up too, ain't it?
It is.
That's like the second second biggest holiday in the United States, ain't it? In fact, it's like New Year's all over the world. Just like you got Christmas all over the world, don't you? Around the world. Go ahead and read about this.
It says, New Year's, the celebration of New Year, is the oldest of all holidays. It was first observed in ancient Babylon about 4,000 years ago. In the years around 2000 BC, the Babylonians' New Year began with the first new moon.
Hold it now. You see when it began? With the first new moon. And when is that? Read in parentheses.
Actually, the first visible crescent. After the vernal equinox.
After the vernal equinox, when is that?
First day of spring.
The first day of spring. You see that? The first day or the first new moon. The day of the vernal equinox. The first day of spring. That is when the new year began. That's the month of Abib, ain't it?
Come on.
That's when the children of Israel came out of Egypt. And that's the same time they be having this Easter celebration, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
Another holiday. Go ahead and read.
The beginning of spring is a logical time to start a new year.
The beginning of spring is a logical time. No, you ain't got to be logical. But God's wisdom tells you, or God's word tells you that the springtime is the beginning of the year.
That's right.
Well, you should see you'll see a sign in the seasons. You understand? He said, the apostles came and said, Lord, we have given up everything. What we're going to receive what we're going to receive? He said, in the regeneration. What do you mean regeneration? And when the new kingdom starts, just like the regeneration of the earth. You see the flowers start blooming, the grass start growing. That's when the new year starts.
Makes sense. Yes, sir.
That makes sense, don't it?
Yes, sir.
The Lord said you're going to see a sign in the season. But go ahead and read. The beginning of the spring is a logical time to start a new year. Go ahead.
After all, it is the season of rebirth, of planting new crops, and of blossoming. January the 1st, on the other hand, has no astronomical nor agricultural significance. It is purely arbitrary.
It was purely arbitrary. What's going on? But the Lord told you man was going to think to change times and laws, didn't he? So now you got this man telling you that January the 1st is the New Year's when it's not. Not according to the Word of God. Because the Babylonians 4,000 years ago, they was doing it according to the first new moon.
That's right.
And that was in the springtime.
Yes, sir.
Not January the 1st. Not January the 1st. Let's go now. Let's go to Psalms 104. We're gonna come back to this. We're gonna come Psalm 104 first.
Okay.
Psalm 104, and we're gonna read one verse 19. Psalm 104 and verse 19. When you get it, go ahead and read. Psalm 104 and verse 19.
He appointed the moon for seasons.
Uh-huh.
The sun knoweth his going down.
He said he appointed the moon for seasons, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
Now let's go to Ezekiel. Let me show you something here. First, before we go to Ezekiel, let's read this second part of this. So he appointed the moon for seasons, didn't he? Mm-hmm. That's why the Babylonians and the Israelites, that's why they use the moon for their seasons and for their months and for their times. Because the Lord appointed the moon for seasons. Now, let's read this second half of this.
All right.
It's called New Year's Traditions and Customs. Go ahead.
Traditional New Year's foods are also thought to bring luck.
Uh-huh.
Many cultures believe that anything in the shape of a ring is good luck because it symbolizes coming full circle, completing a year's circle.
Uh-huh.
A year's cycle. For that reason, the Dutch believe that eating donuts on New Year's Day will bring good fortune.
Go ahead to the second.
Yes, sir. Many parts of the U.S. celebrate the New Year's by consuming black-eyed peas.
Uh-huh.
These legumes are typically accompanied by either hog jaws or ham.
Go ahead.
Black-eyed peas and other legumes have been considered good luck in many cultures.
Uh-huh. Not just here in the United States, but many cultures. Mm-hmm. Black-eyed pea, hog maw, hog jaws or ham. He said black-eyed peas, legumes have been considered good luck in many cultures. Mm-hmm. The hog, go ahead.
The hog and thus its meat is considered lucky because it symbolizes prosperity.
It is considered lucky because it symbolizes prosperity. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not funny. Let me show you what the Lord said about this hog and this pig. Let me show you. Let's see if it's lucky. Let's see if it's lucky. Let's go to Jeremiah. I'm sorry. Before we go there, let's go to Ezekiel. Because I'm going to show you what you're going to be doing and the Lord is going to be using when he returns. Ezekiel 46. We're going to get to that. Ezekiel 46 first. Because he said he used the moon to appoint his seasons, didn't he? Yes, let's show you what he's going to be using. And we know the children of Israel, he talked about the new moons and your Sabbaths, right? Mm-hmm. Don't let no man judge you in meat and drinks.